NYYST. This is New York, Yankee sports talk. Swinging for the fences, knock it out the park. This is New York, Yankee sports talk. Christian and Chris, of course SGR. This is New York, Yankee sports talk. Homie, New York, Yankee sports talk. Record, rain or shine, grab your shades and umbrellas. NYYST, you're hanging with the fellas.
Oh, welcome back. This is episode 414 of the NYYST podcast. We are presented by NYY Underground. I am your host, Christian, as always, joined by my co-host, Chris.
You.
What's up, bro? We're here Thursday night. We were supposed to be live here on NYYU, but as you can see, it's dropping as a premiere. Pete's still in New York doing big things for the channel, so we're here on a pre-recorded episode here, but you can also, if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, while you're there, please drop us a 5-star rating and review, and make sure you're telling everybody we are the official Yankee podcast of Odyssey. And since you're, and if you are watching here on NYY Underground, hit the like, sub to the channel. Over 32K, lots of big things happening for NYYU. So got the bookkeeping out of the way early. You want to say hello, or do you want me to just get started? Because I'm going to get started hot. I'm going to get started hot tonight.
I think we can have a really good and efficient show tonight.
I'm going to get started hot tonight. You want to know why?
Yeah.
Because I hate Kansas City. I hate what they're about to do. Make me do, I should say.
Okay.
And we alluded to this at the end of the show on Sunday. And it's it's like, you don't want to take shots at Bobby, make it seem like you're taking shots at Bobby Witt. Aaron, last night, we're sitting here. The Yankees took 2 out of 3 from Chicago. We'll get into that in a few minutes, because obviously that's a huge disappointment. But last night, Aaron Judge made history, became the fastest player in both in terms of at-bats and games to reach 300 home runs. And
incredible.
Grady Sizemore, who is the interim manager of the White Sox, said before the series started that he basically didn't give a shit. He was walking Aaron Judge. A 90-loss team didn't, they were going to play the strategy there. But last night, now this is after Juan Soto already hit 4 home runs in 2 games, so I don't know if that's going through his mind here, but obviously it was. Decides he's going to walk Juan Soto with a base open to face Aaron Judge. The pitcher, I forget who it was, 3 straight balls. Now it looks like they're pitching around Aaron Judge. Now, this pitch that Aaron Judge hit last night was
they
also
probably were, by the way.
What?
They probably were pitching around him, but we'll get to that after you finish your.
Aaron Judge sees the pitch that he can handle, hits a laser beam for home run number 300. And Aaron Judge is a guy who doesn't show a lot of emotion, very robotic, and that's why a lot of the Jeter comparisons come into play, because Jeter never really gave you anything. It was always the same rhetoric, and you get a lot of that from Aaron Judge. But he did say on the field with Meredith after the game, and I'm paraphrasing him here, that walking Soto to get to him pissed him off.
Yeah. Did he say pissed me off, though?
No, that's why I said I'm paraphrasing.
Oh, I didn't know if he said, I didn't know what part of it you're paraphrasing there.
That's the paraphrasing there, is that it bothered him. He was angered by it, that he didn't like that they said that they challenged him, basically. And he hit a home run, and it basically ended the game right there. The Yankees were in a dogfight up until that point with the White Sox. We'll break down the series in a few minutes here, but now the big topic of conversation here is, who is the AL MVP as we sit here on August 15th. Now, a lot of people say that it's a 2-horse race. Well, really, is it though? Because, and this is why I'm upset, angry, pissed off, whatever word you want to use, is because now it's not only fans and, hot take artists that are mentioning this. It's now the broadcast team for the Kansas City Royals. There's a video.
And MLB themselves.
No, listen to this. There's a video out there of them saying that Aaron Judge would only have 29 home runs if he did not play at Yankee Stadium. Did not play at Yankee Stadium. He would only have 29 home runs. We know Aaron Judge currently excuse me, has 43 home runs. So somewhere along the way, he loses 14 home runs because the Yankees are going to be playing at an actual Little League ballpark on Sunday. So, but they play at what people term a Little League ballpark for 81 games out of the season. Now, Chris, do you know that OPS Plus is park adjusted?
Yes.
Okay, so Bobby Witt Jr. has a stellar, and I'm not knocking Bobby Witt Jr., tremendous baseball player. Any other year, he'd be in the conversation for the MVP with this other person that I'm going to bring up in a few minutes here. 174. That means he's 74%.
Phenomenal.
74% better than the average major league hitter. Want to venture to guess what Aaron Judge's OPS Plus is? Just take a ballpark guess.
I wanted to say it was 189, but maybe I'm thinking of another number.
You think somebody else on the Yankees has that number.
That's okay.
Yeah,
That's Juan Soto.
Yeah,
Okay. Aaron Judge has to be. Is it possible to? I don't know a lot about the sabermetric stat. Is it possible, obviously, to be in the 200s?
Oh, it's very possible when your name is Aaron Judge to have an OPS Plus in the 200s.
Is it in the 220s?
It is in the 220s, actually.
224.
Yes, and I'm guessing that you played this game because you saw it.
I swear on my children's lives who are right outside this door, I did not see it at all. I was thinking it was 189, but I saw a stat comparing Bobby Witt to Juan Soto. So I had no idea it was 224. That's
Aaron Judge's OPS Plus is 224. That means Aaron Judge is
124%
better
Jesus God
than the average major league player. So
he broke the game pretty much.
Because Aaron Judge, he's a product of his environment, right? He only hits home runs at Yankee Stadium. He would lose 14 home runs if he played outside of Yankee Stadium. OPS Plus is park adjusted, and he has an OPS Plus 50 points higher than Bobby Witt Jr. That means he is 50% better than Bobby Witt Jr. Let's take a look at some other numbers here for anybody that wants to say Bobby Witt Jr. deserves the MVP award. WAR 8.4 to 7.9. Okay, home runs 43 to 24. Judge OPS here. It's ungodly. The numbers 1174. Bobby Witt 1000 is 1.009.
Which is phenomenal.
Yeah. And Bobby Witt Jr., this is where he gets Aaron Judge, 349. But he's just some dumb slugger, right? Aaron Judge, that's what he is. He's just some dumb slugger, right?
Yeah.
Aaron Judge is batting 333.
And I saw someone. I went through like I was saying, MLB's pushing this narrative now too. They're putting out graphics, who's going to win MVP, and I thought it would be overwhelmingly Aaron Judge, and like a lot of people were like, "It's not even a discussion."
Chris, he's driven and just 110 in the RBIs to 89 for Witt.
It's unreal, and he's at 110 already.
Yeah,
my God. And here was one idiot said it's got to go to Bobby Witt. Aaron Judge strikes out too much. Someone's like, you ever compare his strikeout to walk ratio right now?
Oh, do you want to do that?
Yeah. Why don't you?
Aaron Judge has struck out 131 times, but he's walked 102 times.
It's exactly what I was looking at. I mean, it's Look, Bobby Witt Jr., no doubt about it, is a great baseball player, great young baseball player. Aaron Judge is ungodly.
Witt, Judge has walked 102 times. Witt has walked 37 times this year. And that's where, and another one. So we have transferred back to 2017 where Judge got robbed of the MVP because what did Jose Altuve have over him? Average and strikeouts. And Witt's only struck out 82 times. So what does Witt have over Judge? average
Average.
and strikeouts.
Well, let me tell you this. I can tell you this definitively. I will personally write a letter to every single voter who votes MVP if these numbers continue trending this way, and it's a clear what's this phrase I'm looking for? One horse
race.
It's a clear one horse race like it is now, because it is. You can't gaslight me into thinking it's not. I will write a personal letter to each and every one of them, and it won't be a good one.
Look, I get it.
Put my life in jeopardy.
Bobby Witt is going to be he's on the cusp right now. He's going to be a superstar in this league.
Yeah, maybe.
No,
But here's my thing. Wasn't last year his first full year?
No, 2022 was.
Wasn't he not that good?
30 and 90.
Wasn't he a little
30,
disappointing?
96, 813 on the OPS. I wouldn't say that's disappointing. When you throw family members off the George Washington Bridge to get Anthony Volpe to do that.
Yeah, my point is he's coming into his own now. Like, this is the first season he's really opening eyes, right?
He had a good rookie year, 20 and 80, 722 on the OPS. I mean, it's not like he's been 20, 80, 722 OPS.
He's playing on a different level than he's ever played before.
How many kids would you throw off the George Washington Bridge to get that production out of Anthony Volpe?
Out of my 3 kids, maybe 2 of them.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so.
But here's the thing. My point is he's playing out of his mind this year, and for the game of
potential,
yes, but for the game of baseball, I hope he continues to play that way. It's always
but when you
great.
say playing out of his mind, that's what we don't want to do. We don't want to downgrade Bobby Witt Jr. This is exactly who Bobby Witt was expected to be when he broke onto the scene here in Kansas City.
And it's great for baseball. You love to see a young kid like this come up and be the guy that everyone's expecting him to be. My point is, Aaron Judge has been doing this for a significant amount of time now. This isn't just a one-off.
But I understand that, but that doesn't really factor into when you're voting on the MVP. I'm looking strictly at what these guys are doing this year. Aaron Judge belongs in a different league right now.
Understood. What my point was that you're saying, Bobby Witt's a great baseball player. Right now he is, and you would expect him to continue to be. But when you're talking about Aaron Judge, this is who he is. This has gone from, is Judge going to have a crazy year, or is Judge just going to be Judge? Like, this is Judge being Judge at this point. This guy is how you could even, I guess they have a responsibility, right, to create the narrative so that it's not too one-sided. I don't know. But it just has so many vibes of, like, the pushing Shohei in your face. And all these players, they just want you to fucking... You can take the fact that I'm a Yankee fan out of the equation. It wasn't close in 2017. It's not close in 2024.
No, and that's what I want to bring up here, is that the race isn't for MVP. Race is for who's going to finish second.
Okay, yes. I agree with this.
All right. Look at these. Now tell me this is a closer battle than Bobby Witt Jr. versus Aaron Judge. Bobby Witt Jr. versus Juan Soto. Obviously, we said 349. Soto's hitting 307, so he's got him there. But Soto's got 34 home runs to Witt's 24. Soto's driven in 87 to Witt's 89. Soto's OPS is 1052 to Witt's 1.009. Soto's OPS plus is it's actually 192. It went up. I lost it, so it went up. It's 192 to Witt's 174. And the WAR, Witt's, and that's where Witt's got a little edge there, 7.9 to 7.5. So that's a legitimate battle. That's a legitimate. You are not in any. Look, and I get it. People are going to listen to this and say, well, I'm going to say 99.9% of our base listening to this are Yankee fans. There might be a straggler here or there. But if you're not a Yankee fan listening to this, you're going to say, well, of course you guys. But listen, Aaron Judge is so far and above and beyond everything.
It's a lot of it's obviously subjective. A lot of it is what we see every day. A lot of it is our emotion of being a Yankee fan. But there's also a lot that is objective. And this also goes for 2017. There's objective statistics that clearly place him far and beyond anyone else in this entire league. And it's not particularly close, in my opinion.
Chris, when your OPS plus is 50 points, shit, my iPad froze. I wanted to have two things up at once here, and this is when your OPS plus is 50 points higher than your supposed competition, your competition's, the guys campaigning for him can't use that he's a product of Yankee Stadium.
Right. And that just doesn't make sense anyway. Right? Like if you even have any bit of knowledge, you don't even have to, like, I don't really watch any other teams, obviously. I watch every pitch of every Yankee game. Even if you only watched the Royals, you still have seen enough of Aaron Judge to know that this guy, it doesn't matter what stadium he's playing in. When you're hitting balls 470 feet, it doesn't matter where you're playing. How many porch jobs does he have, honestly? Maybe one or two? If that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly.
So it's just a stupid comment that, honestly, like, things like that, as I've gotten older, and like those comments, I don't even waste energy and time on.
So go ahead.
Sorry, no, because it's kind of.
I was going to say in 2017, just to look at that quick, Judge's OPS plus was 171, and Altuve's was he had a much more respectable balance to Judge. At least he was 160, but Judge still was 11% better than him.
I think another argument for, and this is an argument being made for Bobby Witt Jr. also, was defense with Altuve.
All right, yeah. Well, second base, right field, but now center field.
Let me tell you something, dude. When you're putting up the offensive numbers that Aaron Judge is, unless he's like non-existent in the field, I don't even care. It just doesn't matter.
And then you see Royals fans saying, well, Bobby Witt Jr. doesn't have anybody in the lineup with him. That's why he deserves it. Okay, well, what about Sal Perez? 22 home runs, 79 runs batted in, batting 277, 810 OPS, 122 on the OPS plus. We're gonna act like he's a pile of dog shit.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How many? I guess this would be counterproductive. So I guess I wouldn't want to make this argument. Okay, so I'll say this. Maybe here's the argument. Okay, Judge has more people in the lineup protecting him, right?
He has a guy in the lineup.
A guy, right? If he had actual protection, would they be intentionally walking him the way they do? Would he have as many walks just in general as he does? And if he did have true protection, how much more damage would he do than Bobby Witt has done? I mean,
you think he'd have 50 home runs right now if they pitched to him?
Probably. He's that good, man. And I just want to say something about his 300th home run. I don't want to take time on talking about Grady Sizemore again. It was one of the dumbest moves I've ever. I don't care if you've been managing for an hour. It was just one of the dumbest baseball moves I've ever seen in my life. I don't care if Juan Soto is 50 for 50 with 50 home runs in a row. You are never in any world, in any sane mind, with any sane mind, walking him intentionally to get to Aaron Judge. And what I don't get is you intentionally walk Soto, I guess it was for theater, because you're clearly not pitching to Aaron Judge in that at-bat. But here's the problem. Here's where Aaron Judge is the best hitter in baseball, hands down, not even close. It's a 3-0 count. All the pitcher has to do at that point is not throw a fastball. That's literally all he has to do, and that ball probably doesn't go. But here's the thing. Aaron Judge is such a good hitter. all he has to do is think fastball. And if that is either down the plate or anywhere inside, even 4 inches inside, which we saw, he is literally going to fucking destroy it.
That's the second time in the last week we've seen him get a pitch up and in. That's not even a strike, that he's just demolished.
To people who just watch baseball and have never really played in any competitive way, I've sucked at hitting. But I can tell you this about hitting. There is nothing more difficult than turning on an inside fastball when a guy's throwing that hard and keeping your hands in long enough to drive the ball fair and the way he did. It was, if you go back and really watch that home run again, the way he fucking explodes and keeps his hands in, it wasn't like it hung up and maybe it was going to go foul. That ball was 4 inches inside, and it was a no-doubter.
The pitch I'm thinking of at Yankee Stadium was only a double, but he pulled his hands in and ripped it 110 down the line. That's not normal. Baseball players don't do that.
No. And the fact that he did it, and that's just really all I want to say about in that regard was.
Look, I'm just going to put a bow on this because, like I said, I don't like knocking Bobby Witt Jr. I think he's a great baseball player. He's great for the game. He's going to be one of the future superstars of baseball. But you know what? You got to stop. I understand you want to back your guy. Stop. Don't.
Please.
Like we don't want to take shots at Bobby Witt Jr. making the case. Not that we need to make the case for Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is making the case for himself.
Yep.
But you don't have to knock Aaron Judge to pump up Bobby Witt Jr. Okay, it doesn't matter where Aaron Judge plays. Aaron Judge is going to hit home runs because didn't we read his splits the other day? Isn't he almost 1-to-1 for home runs on the road versus at Yankee Stadium?
Yeah, it's just unreal. And here's something I wanted to bring up real quick before we move on, and it has more to do with Soto. That's why I didn't cut you off to ask it before. And forgive me for my lack of knowledge here. I've always known Soto is an incredible baseball player, and like we've said, he's exceeded expectations somehow. Is this, and again, I'm asking genuinely.
Oh, by the way, Aaron Judge has 5 more home runs away than he does at Yankee Stadium.
There you go. Is this Juan Soto's best season? It is. Okay.
Yes.
I thought so. And not just in because I know his career average is like 285 now. He's like a 285 guy.
Yeah, listen. I'll read off his numbers compared to his all right, he's a career 287 hitter. He's hitting 307 this year. The highest he's ever hit in a season is
I thought he had a 334 type year.
It was the COVID year, so it doesn't count, but in a full year, he hit 313 in 2021.
Okay.
So he also has 34 home runs currently. Juan Soto's career high for home runs is 35.
Oh, really?
He did that last year. He also has another 34 home run season, but those are the only 3 years he's hit 30 home runs. Right now, he currently has where is it? He currently has 87 RBIs. His career high is 110. He's only hit 100 twice in his career. And his OPS is currently 1052. This would only be the second year of his career he finishes with a OPS over 1,000. The only other year was the COVID season.
Wow.
So yeah, he's having as great as he is. He's having a career year.
Oh no, that's unreal, man. Unreal.
So again, now this is going to segue into something else here before we actually talk about on-field stuff. Here is this was another talking point yesterday, is that this was said on WFAN, and if you ever need any more reasons to just stop listening to WFAN and pick out your favorite podcast, hopefully it's us, of the teams that you love, especially if it's the Yankees. It's being said that there's no way the Yankees are bringing Juan Soto back because they can't pay him more than Aaron Judge. You just can't pay him more than Aaron Judge. First of all, if you knew anything about Aaron Judge would not give one flying fuck if Juan Soto was making more money than he was. Not one.
Agreed. Let me know when you're ready to just get into like the actual argument here as to why that's fucking dumb.
And it's dumb because Aaron Judge got his contract 2 years ago, and as we've seen contracts go up every single year. the value of players go up every single year. And Juan Soto is going to be what, 26 years old when he signs his contract? Aaron Judge was 32 when he signed his.
I was thinking this.
I mean, let's be realistic here. And look, I'm gonna defend this point for 1 second here. If this was left up to Brian Cashman, I could see him saying something like that. Just not out of respect to Aaron Judge, just because he's a fucking asshole.
No, because he clearly doesn't respect Aaron Judge. We know that already.
But this decision, just like signing Aaron Judge, was not Brian Cashman's decision. It was left up to Hal Steinbrenner. The decision to bring back Juan Soto is a decision by 2 people. And I'm going to say, obviously, Hal and Aaron Judge. He's going to Hal's going to say, can I bring him back? And can he make more money than you? And Aaron Judge is going to go, yes.
He better. Yeah. So I've been making this point for a long time, and it's really difficult, I guess, as someone who's never going to be offered a 10-year contract of guaranteed hundreds of millions of dollars. I've always made the argument, and I guess it's a dumb argument because of how quickly an athlete's career can just end, or he can just fall off the face of the earth or get hurt or so on and so forth. But like, there's also a trade-off to signing a long-term contract in baseball it's really gotten bad over the last handful of years, where I'll just use, what's his name, Julio Rodriguez from Seattle?
Yeah. J-Rod.
J-Rod. Didn't he sign like some crazy 18-year deal?
I think he did get an extension. Let's look that up. Let's be specific on that. But yeah, I know where you're going because he's been terrible this year.
Well, no, not even. So yeah, that's part of it, right? That's part of what I'm talking about as to why it's such a great comfort to have that contract. Technically, he could play like shit the rest of his career or get hurt or so on and so forth.
So he's 23 years old, and he signed a 12-year, $209 million deal with the Mariners.
Oh, it was only 12. I thought maybe I was reading something years ago whenever he signed that.
Well, dude, he played 1 year and they gave him 12 and they extended him for 12.
So here's the problem, right? So yes, there's obviously comfort, and I'm sure if I'm in that position, I'm taking the guaranteed money like that. Right? So I don't fault players, but there is a trade-off, and the trade-off is that this market grows at an insane rate. Now, you sign for 10 years, 12 years. Within 2 years, there's guys who are not even close to being at your talent level, probably getting more money. And that's something that is a trade-off that you have to deal with. It's not an ego thing. There's going to be players along the way that get paid more than you, even if they are not necessarily more talented than you.
It's really, he took the money for the first 5 years of it because he's going to get close to $20 million a year for the first 5 years. He wasn't going to make that an arbitration unless turns out to be Juan Soto.
My point is this, and it's going to sound like a weird transition, but where would you rank Kirk Cousins as a quarterback?
Middle of the pack.
Even in history. Like, would you even put him top 20?
In history?
Yeah.
No, that's not even a realistic question.
He was, and I think he is again, the highest paid quarterback of all time. My point is, you can be the greatest superstar in the world. If you're Aaron Judge, part of the trade-off of signing that contract, of having the comfortability of not having to worry, is that other players, whether they're more talented than you or not, and I don't, crazy enough, going into it, I thought maybe Soto was more talented than Judge. I didn't know. Aaron Judge has made it perfectly clear no one is more talented than him. That doesn't mean he's going to be the highest paid player in a market that is continually evolving for more guys. So if you're getting paid to analyze certain things about teams, especially in the city that you speak in, all you have to do is just use a little ounce of your brain before you decide to make stupid, idiotic, unrealistic, irrational comments like that. And that's all.
Okay. So it's going to come down to whether or not the Yankees are going to get into a bidding war, not Aaron Judge's feelings. That's what it's going to come down to.
I'll tell you this. I'll say this. If it comes out that Aaron Judge got in the way of, and I mean not Hal and Brian Cashman saying we just didn't want to do that to him. If it came out that Aaron Judge literally came up to him and said, "You better not pay him more than me," I'm telling you right now, as someone who absolutely fucking loves
You would
this
lose
guy,
all respect for the guy.
I would lose all respect for Aaron Judge.
And everything
Every
we know,
ounce of it.
and everything we know about Aaron Judge, does that even sound like something that he would say?
Of course not. So I'm just telling you, that's how unrealistic that take is and idiotic.
Do you think Aaron? Now we know what Aaron Judge can do in a lineup with literally 8 sacks of dog shit in it. He hit 62.
Why? When did he
runs.
do that? In 2022? Oh, okay.
Now, don't you think it would be beneficial for Aaron Judge to play with one of the top 5 players in baseball for the next 7 years?
Let me.
Don't you think he's thinking of that as well?
It's not even. It's like, here's my thing, right? For all the crapshoot people, and I'm doing air quotes there, of people who say the playoffs are a crapshoot, which there's another prominent WFAN voice who's been tweeting that this week. Let's just, for argument's sake, say you're right. It's a crapshoot. You just have to make the playoffs, and really doesn't matter from there. It's whoever's going to be hot. Whatever. Do you know what would increase your odds more than any other move you could possibly ever make to enter into that crapshoot for the next 8 years?
Having Juan Soto?
Having Juan Soto and Aaron Judge in the same fucking lineup. So even if baseline, that's the argument, that it's a crapshoot, you sign one contract and you've done your job. And that's it.
Yeah. So we'll table that for another day, because obviously the topic of discussion this whole offseason, whether the Yankees win the World Series or not, is going to be what Juan Soto does and where he goes. But I just think it's ridiculous that people are saying that he won't be back because they can't pay him more than Aaron Judge. It's just that's not even a factor into why he wouldn't come back here. A big acquisition that the Yankees made prior to the trade deadline, Jazz Chisholm, who has really played well for the Yankees, and one of the highlights of are you frozen or just not moving?
I'm just not moving because
okay.
I'm just in disbelief.
One of the highlights of that, of what I am still deeming the worst loss the Yankees have had this year on Monday, was how he basically created a run through speed and athleticism. And I got very excited when he did that, because I was seeing how the Yankees can win some postseason games in ways that they haven't been able to win in the past, because they had guys that had speed and athleticism and can create runs. And then we take a shot to the dugout and he's twirling his arm around and he gets removed from the game, and he's now currently on the injured list with a UCL injury. The Yankees are hopeful that he can return before the playoffs, because he's going to be expected to miss at least 3 to 4 weeks. They're still formulating opinions on where he can, on what's going to happen with him, whether or not he needs surgery. It's his non-throwing arm. I don't know if that means a lot, because
it does.
If he still needs Tommy John, he still won't be able to hit. But
the biggest problem is that he's not a righty batter. If you're a righty, he throws righty and he hits lefty.
Lefty, yes.
So the fact that it's his non-throwing arm affects him hitting more, because he's a lefty and that's his top hand. So that's his top arm there coming through the ball. If he's a righty batter and he hurts his left arm, he's probably coming back, guaranteed, doesn't need surgery, at least now, and can come back in a few weeks. This, I don't know, because he's a lefty batter, and that's a really difficult injury to play through, even if it's not your throwing arm, as a lefty hitter.
I don't know. You could tell me that I'm being a little hyperbolic here, but this is a major injury for the Yankees right now, especially if he doesn't come back in the postseason.
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, it's not it doesn't have to even be in a vacuum here. We can talk about it as the only reason why you're not considering just ripping the hair out of your head after the trade deadline is because of Jazz Chisholm. I mean, that was the only argument that you could say, hey, but they got this guy. And now he's gone? He uplifted this team, didn't just give them depth. He gave them everything you just explained, athleticism, speed, all of it. He adapted. He went to a position he's never played before, and he looked great doing it. I mean, this is a guy who was way more valuable as a Yankee than he would have been on any other team, especially where he came from. This brought him to another level coming here on this team in this particular year. This is a huge blow.
Yeah, and I know that Brian Cashman gets a lot of shit for acquiring injury-prone players, and Jazz has dealt with his share of injuries throughout the course of his career. But I mean, this is another freak thing that the Yankees had dealt with here. I know you mentioned when we were texting that if they weren't getting losing and going like 0 for 85 with runners in scoring position against a team that's probably going to go down as the worst team in the history of baseball, that he wouldn't have had to force something like that. But I mean, it's still something that you got excited to watch happen, because when's the last time the Yankees have had a player with that type of electricity on the base paths?
Yeah. Well, you can argue Oswaldo Cabrera last night.
Right, which is I'm going to get to, because I'm not a big Oswaldo, and I never have been a big Oswaldo Cabrera needs to play every day guy, but Oswaldo Cabrera needs to play every day.
Yeah, I've been saying it now for 2 weeks. I mean, I said it.
Well, with the Jazz injury, he has to play every day.
Yeah, I agree, and they probably won't let him. But anyway, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I try to get extra irrational during the games and in text messages with you, so that I get it out of my system. We used to really not try to talk too much about each game so that we can save it for the show. Now I get it all out during the game. All my irrational comments, all my idiotic takes. Not that I don't have idiotic takes on the show. I'm just saying I get all of that out during the game so that I can come here with a head on my shoulders that's not going to fucking explode.
But yeah, this was their starting third baseman, and this was a guy that I think, well, I shouldn't say that, because I would hope that they would do something else that could have possibly really changed the dynamic of the lineup at the top of it at some point. We got to just hope that it's something that he can work through and be back in 3 or 4 weeks and get ready for get some reps in before the postseason, because again, you don't want to make, I get where people don't want to make too big of a deal out of Jazz Chisholm, but bro, you got your big guys like Judge, Stanton, Soto, and then you have a completely different player that can create all on his own. And that is what Anthony Volpe is supposed to be.
Nope. I want to ask a question, but I know we're already almost at an hour here. So I don't necessarily want to drag the show on with this question, but I think it's a question that needs to be asked. And I'll get to my actual point after asking this first preliminary question. Based on the season he's having right now, what kind of a contract do you expect Gleyber Torres to get in the offseason?
That's interesting.
And here's why I'll ask while you think about it.
I've been debating this recently, not with anybody, but in my own head, as people bring up his contract status. Did he cost himself a multi-year deal now? Does he have to take a 1-year deal with somebody?
Okay, so I'm glad you said that, because that's really ultimately what I'm getting at. Because people aren't thinking about this. If Jazz Chisholm, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but by next year, he's your second baseman moving forward, no? Jazz?
Who's your third baseman?
Well, I don't know, but I would have
I'm not saying that to bring Gleyber back. I'm saying, but maybe the Yankees would have stuck with him at third.
Maybe, but it would make more sense to me. I don't know. To me, he was the second. He was going to be the second baseman. He's here for a couple more years after this year.
They got him for another 2 years.
You have no intention of bringing Gleyber back, right? But now you're starting to think, if Jazz needs surgery next year, given the season that Gleyber's having, he's having a flyer type year. He's having a year where he might be forced to take a flyer type deal, a 1-year contract, a prove it season. And maybe, I don't want this, but if Jazz is going to miss time next year and have to get surgery, could this possibly force the Yankees back?
No.
Well,
you cannot.
If you don't, you just ask who's going to be your third baseman. Well, if you don't bring Gleyber back and he needs surgery, who's your second baseman? Who's your third baseman now? Now we're playing a game of who.
What about Jordan Vivas? What about Oswald Peraza? Give me one of those guys before you bring Gleyber Torres back.
Okay, fair enough. But if that's gonna be the argument, then I need to see these guys now. I need to see.
I agree. I hate when the Yankees do these things, because when they brought up, what are you laughing at?
You're going to bring up that they bring up Peraza and then he rots on the bench?
Well, this is what they did to Vivas, is that he was scorching the ball, and then they brought him up to sit on the bench for 3 days. And then, everybody was looking at Peraza's numbers and saying, oh, he hasn't had a great year, but over his last month or so, he's been hitting over 300. He had turned his season around, and now what is he going to do? Come up here and collect cobwebs?
Yep.
And I want to segue into, obviously it's going to be a major blow to lose Jazz. Who's got to pick up the slack? We saw it last night with Oswaldo Cabrera. That's not only a heads up play, it's a hustle play. And guys that use their heads and hustle, I got time for. So even though I still do not think Oswaldo Cabrera is an everyday player, love the guy, think he absolutely belongs on a team. Every championship team should have an Oswaldo Cabrera.
Very valuable.
But I think he should be playing every day. He has hit better than Gleyber Torres. He has hit better than DJ LeMahieu. He's hustled more than both of those guys. He's used his head way more than Gleyber Torres ever has.
I mean, if you break down that play, so he's going back to second base. He's staring at the ball. He's watching the play unfold. The second, who was it that got to that ball and kind of fell over? Who's the right fielder?
Yeah, I don't know. The center fielder and the right fielder tripped over each other.
He sees that he has a chance at taking two bases. It cannot be overstated what kind of a game Luis Rojas had as the third base coach.
No, he was
he was really good yesterday.
A lot of people have given him shit for some of his sins, but he did have an excellent game yesterday.
It's very rare that you're talking about a third base coach in that type of way, but for Cabrera to know there's a possibility, and then he rounds third, and I'm guessing Rojas had to get down the line enough. I'm guessing Rojas for a quick second had the hold, and then the ball drops, and he just goes. And Cabrera, yeah, he stutter steps, but he really doesn't miss a beat. He's that athletic that he just picks it right back up, and it wasn't close, and it should have been at least close.
No, and he even said post game that he read the play, saw what was in front of or behind him, I guess we should say, and he knew there was an opportunity. How many guys? And I get it, he's faster than a lot of guys on this team, but how many guys would have just, okay, I got a base here, not even really put a thought into their brains that they could score on that.
Here's the problem. Most players are taking third, and if they can get a second base, it's being dictated by the third base coach, right? Cabrera's mind in that play was immediately before he sees anything, before he sees any type of sign, is I'm definitely taking home, and he's going to have to stop me if I'm not. Instead of I'm taking third and he can send me home if he thinks I can get it. No, it was I'm taking home. He's going to have to be the one to stop me as the third base coach.
Yeah, and again, that's something that maybe doesn't happen if he's not pressing the issue because the Yankees are in a dogfight for their lives against the worst team in the history of baseball. But again, you got to put that in a vacuum. They're going to be in a dogfight in October. So the plays you saw at a Jazz and Oswaldo were maybe necessitated because they were in close games when they shouldn't have been, but they're going to be in close games in October. And now that they have guys on this roster that are willing to push the issue, willing to make things happen, can make things happen. So we'll see how that translates. But right now, Oswaldo's got to be instilled as your third baseman. And I've seen a lot of this, and Anthony Volpe broke an 0 for 31 last night. We got a double late in the game.
Yeah.
And people were saying, well, why? And again, I talked about this with the whataboutism when a couple of weeks ago. I think Pete was on the show, and Gleyber got benched, and they're like, well, what about? Well, what about Verdu? What about? Well, and then people are like, well, what about Volpe? Well, how come nobody gives him a hard time? How come he doesn't face consequences? Well, let me explain something to you for people that think that way. There's no other reason, and I saw people insinuating this, and I'm sure that our fans are smart enough to pick up on what I'm saying here, so I don't have to explicitly say it. That there's only one reason, and one reason alone, that Anthony Volpe is given all the leash in the world that he needs to succeed, is that they don't want to, and they being the Yankees, do not want to admit failure on him. That's it.
No, not
What do you
that they
mean,
don't
no?
want to.
They can't.
They can't. They literally can't.
Anthony Volpe caused a course correction for the New York Yankees. Maybe that's not the correct term, but they refused to even enter the shortstop market when all these all-star shortstops were available to them. Refused to enter it because of Anthony Volpe. And now the Yankees are not going down that road again. They went down that road with Gleyber Torres. Realized what a failure Gleyber Torres was as a shortstop. And you know what that led to? That led to IKF as your shortstop. You, me, nobody that says that they root for the Yankees want to go down that road again.
No.
So I am 100% confident in saying this, and I think that you are the fool of fools if you think anything other than this. That's the only reason why Anthony Volpe has been given every chance to succeed, is because they won't and can't admit failure on him. And I know I've been saying this on this show, that I'm willing to give him until the All-Star break, until next year, 25, to make a final decision. I'm getting closer and closer by the day to maybe realizing that he will never be even a league average hitter.
Wow. That's really, I mean, if that's true, and I don't disagree with you, that's a really tough pill to swallow. It really is. I mean, the Yankees are so committed. Here's all you need to know about how committed they are to Volpe. They're so committed. They went against their philosophy. How many times have we been screaming at the Yankees, if you're not going to get me a superstar because of the people you have in your farm system, then bring them up. Let me see. The Yankees are so committed to Volpe. They went against everything they've done.
And they actually did it.
And they actually did it and brought this kid up when they admitted he wasn't ready and would have to adjust to the major leagues on the fly. And we applauded him for it because that was the right move after passing up on so much talent. And now this is what you're going to get?
He's not even, he's a very, very streaky hitter. He's not even streaky like Giancarlo Stanton, where Stanton just dominates baseball for 3 weeks. He gets hot for about 2-3 weeks, and then you don't have any clue where Anthony Volpe is for about 6 to 7 weeks.
I mean, he took 2 pitches that he could have demolished, and then he swings at like a fastball in the dirt. He's just so, when he's lost, he is on a different planet, and not in a good way.
And then he had been so great coming out of the All-Star break, and then he goes for an 0 for 31. I mean, there's a lack of consistency with him at the plate too, and that's for
Is that growing pains? I don't know.
I mean, we just read what Bobby Witt Jr. did in his rookie year, and then in his second year, and then now he's turned into a superstar in his third year. Anthony Volpe is not even anywhere close to that.
Here's my thing with Volpe. I obviously don't want or need him to be a power hitter. And when he's been hot this year, he looks like a much better hitter. But the results aren't there. And guess what else isn't there this year? The power.
Yeah.
He at least had power last year. He had, what, 21 home runs last year?
Yeah, he was 20. Yeah, for sure.
What's he at now? 8?
I think when he got hot, did he get to double?
Yeah, I think he did get to 10 or 11. But man, give me.
Yeah, he has 11 now.
At least give me one or the other here.
21 last year.
Like, yeah, the higher batting average is great, but it's not like that much higher.
But when he's hitting 249, who cares?
And then he gets on base, and it's like, you're supposed to be our fucking guy who snags a bag like every time you're on base. What are we doing? I don't get it.
The OPS is 688, OPS plus a 92. These are all below league average.
That's terrible. It's just not good, guys. It's not good. And you're right. I thought the All-Star break of next year was a good marker, but when we're seeing the same things over and over again and they're just not changing, you start to ask yourself, is it even worth giving him that much more time? Because
they're gonna ride this out for at least.
They are.
Yeah,
I'm
for
talking
sure.
about you as a fan watching him.
I'm not ready to say I'm done with him, but
No.
The needle is pointing in that direction.
I'll tell you one thing that could really help his case.
Have a hot postseason.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I promise you, Volpe, I will forget everything you've done the last couple of years poorly. If you have a really hot October, everyone else will too.
So let's speed round a couple of things here because you said you wanted to have an efficient show, but we got a lot. There's always seems like there's nothing to talk about, and there's always a lot to talk about. So Jose Trevino, even though the Yankees are off today, did get activated off the IL. Obviously, Narvaez got sent down. Boone was on foul territory earlier today, and they asked him about Austin Wells, and Boone basically said that Trevino starting on Friday, but he's basically here to support, and support was his word, Austin Wells. And honestly, I don't have a real problem with Trevino starting on Friday night because Garrett Cole is starting on Friday night. I believe I said here last episode that he should be Garrett Cole's personal catcher and nothing more. Plus, there's a day game Saturday after the night game on Friday. That's when you play your backup. So, I mean, if he's getting more playing time than that, then that's something that we can have a discussion about. But right now, Aaron Boone's saying all the right things, and I do like Trevino catching Cole. At least for the regular season, postseason time comes, Garrett Cole's got to get over that. But if you're trying to get Garrett Cole locked in, I don't mind it right now. And with the day game after the night game on Saturday, this is when you start Jose Trevino. Austin Wells is not, like you said, it's not so, like you said last episode, is not what Trevino can or has done. It's all about Austin Wells and that he's taken this job from Jose Trevino.
Someone in our NYYU chat said that Boone said something to the effect of Trevino will face lefties.
That's not what I listened to what he said. He said that he was starting on Friday because there's a lefty on the mound, but I think that he didn't want.
Oh, well, I don't like that statement.
Listen to me. I think they're going opener anyway, Detroit. And the bulk guy is a lefty, but I don't think he wants to come out and explicitly say, can you put your hands down so everybody can see you?
Sorry.
Everybody wants to see that beautiful mug of yours.
This isn't even a video. Oh, yeah.
Yes,
it is.
is.
Shit.
Did you do something that you weren't supposed to do?
No, I was just getting stats up.
Did
I wanted
you tube in?
I didn't tube in, dude. Not that it would have cost me my job, right?
I don't think Boone wants to come out and explicitly say he's pairing Trevino with Garrett Cole. I think for whatever reason, the Yankees are afraid to say that Cole has a personal catcher, even though we all know that he does.
Yeah. Okay, so let's play a game. It's called Just in Case the Yankees try to gaslight you that Trevino should face lefties. Okay. Versus left-handed batters, you're going to guess which player
Austin Wells.
has which average. One of them has a 209 batting average versus lefties. The other has a 231. Can you guess who the 209 is?
Jose Trevino.
Correct. One of them versus lefties has a 289 OBP. The other has a 343. Can you guess which one has the 348? Sorry.
Well,
Can you guess
Wink.
which? Can you guess which player has?
Wink, can I get Austin Wells for 100, please?
Correct. One of these players versus lefties has a 403 slug. The other, oh, that's not a good one. 231 slug.
So he's not slugging against lefties.
It's not slugging. Not slugging. And then your OPS obviously
Would be
goes
higher.
to Trevino also. Look, you're just not going to. My point is, don't let the Yankees gaslight you. If it turns back into we need Trevino to face lefties, there's just no need for it. There's just really not. Wells is your catcher. Trevino's your backup catcher. End of story.
I wouldn't even say he's your backup. He's Cole's catcher, and that's it.
Fine. Fine by me.
I guess the Yankees would maybe give him 2 starts in a week if the Cole catches a day, and then like there's a
Cole
couple of
pitches.
days later, then there's a day game after a night game, maybe then that. But that should be the only 2 circumstances Trevino starts in. It's not matchup based with him.
True. Better not be.
It shouldn't be. So Jose Trevino's back. Lou Trevino, okay, is on his way back. I believe he started a rehab assignment. I bring that up because the Yankees are fucking desperate for help in that bullpen. Eniel De Los Santos, gone. Barely lasted 2 weeks here.
I said it last week, didn't I?
Yeah, well, that was before he gave up 7 runs to the friggin' White Sox. I didn't think he was going to do that. But he's already gone. Mark Leiter Jr., I don't know what the hell. I mean, I guess this is who he is, though. So, I mean.
How's Neely doing?
I haven't heard. Have you heard? Are you saying
Oh,
that 'cause
really?
you've heard?
Yeah.
Well, what's he
Yeah.
doing?
Oh, I know. I don't know. He has a 0 ERA.
He got called up. I didn't even see if he got called up or not.
I don't know if he got called up. I just reading what he's done.
Okay, so he dominated in AAA for the Yankees, too. If he's not doing it at the major league level, then
maybe he is.
Do you know that or do you not know
I don't
that?
know. All I read was a stupid tweet, and it angered me, and that was it. I'm gonna look it up right now.
He's not, because he's not coming up on Baseball Reference.
Whatever, dude.
Who you know who is going to show up on Baseball Reference after tomorrow?
Who?
Trey Sweeney.
Oh yeah.
Tigers are calling him up for this series against the Yankees.
Nice. Love it.
It's amazing that the Yankees can really use Dylan Cease and Trey Sweeney and Dylan Cease or Jack Flaherty and 2 of their farm hands that they traded this offseason were then flipped for both of those guys. Although you can't really get mad about Drew Thorpe because he brought us Juan Soto, so you can't get upset about that one.
I would never, ever get it. And I don't get upset over guys who just underperform. Like, yeah, Leiter Jr.'s underperforming, but also even his ceiling was never that good. So, like, I honestly, I think the Leiter Jr. was a trigger move that was like, we need to do something, and maybe this guy will be what we're looking for because of the swing and miss stuff. But we had to really convince ourselves that this guy was, I think, better than he's going to turn out to be.
Well, you know why I don't even fault the Yankees for doing it because of the swing and miss stuff. Because, bro, Jake Cousins is pitching Where is it? It's pitching to a 2.25 ERA for the Yankees this year.
He's been absolutely incredible.
And he's averaging 12.8 strikeouts per 9 innings.
Incredible.
I mean, he's definitely moved up in the pecking order here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for me, it goes Cousins, Weaver, Holmes to end a close game. I mean, I would prefer not Holmes.
Why you disrespecting Tonky, man?
No, this is what they want. How long have I been saying it?
Don't disrespect Tonky.
They want you to stop thinking about Tonkin because he will be gone soon.
You know what? That thought really entered my mind when they let him pitch the final 3 innings last night. They're just burning him out now.
I'm telling you, I've been watching this team long enough. The second we started to scratch our head and wonder why he was coming in 5 or 6 run games after he was really effective, they're just trying to fade him out at this point.
It's really unfair because he's pitching to a 2.73 ERA for the Yankees, and he's been really effective.
And that's kind of inflated, too, based on his last couple outings.
And he's not terrible with the swing and miss, 8.9 over 9. That's not bad.
You know what I love about Tonkin? He just has some raw, I don't know. I don't want to call it talent. Just like raw emotion out there. Like,
yeah, he gets pumped up.
Like, he might not be perfect. He might go out there and just shit the bed. But he's out there and he's not letting any. If he shits the bed, it's because he just didn't have good stuff. It's not because he's in his own head.
He earned a save last night.
Yeah, because he had the 3 innings, right?
Yeah, because he pitched 3 innings. So they're desperate. Lou Trevino's on his way back. Scott Efros shouldn't be too far behind him. I mean, this bullpen has been a shit show. I think they showed it last night over their last handful of games or whatever it was. They were pitching to an ERA just under 15.
Ooh.
And I mean, you saw it. Even though the Yankees were only up 4-0 in that game on Tuesday, they should have. That should have been a cakewalk. Yep. And we're sitting there sweating it out.
Yeah.
Tommy Kahnle can't throw strikes. They didn't have Weaver available. I don't know why they didn't have Weaver available, but they didn't have Weaver available. Tonkin wasn't available. Holmes wasn't available. I mean,
because Weaver threw a shit ton of pitches.
Well, Holmes threw 45 on Sunday, so I figured that would probably take him out for 2 days there. But this bullpen is an issue, and it's amazing that I said this in January. I said this in February. I said this in March. That was me fast forwarding. It's August. This bullpen is the biggest issue this team has. Nothing has been done to fix it. The Yankees haven't really done anything to fix the starting rotation. I guess you want to say Marcus Stroman. At the time, we liked it because we didn't think he would be this much of a nibbler and be this and overall pitched this much afraid on the mound. But they've done things to improve the offense. When you take away what Alex Verdugo has done this season, go back to when it happened. When you bring in over the course of an offseason and a trade deadline, when you bring in Alex Verdugo, Jazz Chisholm, and Juan Soto, you can't say you didn't improve your offense.
No, any lineup that has Juan Soto and Aaron Judge in it, just alone, is you have a leg up. And then you add those other guys. Look, there's a lot that still weighs on, that still you can blame on the front office. There's a lot you can blame on the players this year, too. But as far as the bullpen's concerned,
they did not bring in one sure thing for this bullpen. And that's where if you want to get on Cashman, and again, we don't spend a lot, but I just want to make this point. This is where if you want to get on Cashman, where he has to be the smartest guy in the room at all times, the way he built this bullpen is an example of that. Because instead of putting Reese, and again, we didn't need to go back to 2018 or 19 or whenever it was where they spent $30 million on 2 closers, and it obviously didn't work out for them, but they didn't put any reliability into this bullpen this year. It's all projects. And some of them, like even Tim Hill. Tim Hill's been good for this team. Jake Cousins, Michael Tonkin. But how many projects can you rely on? And that's why, can Matt Blake get a higher upside out of Leiter Jr. than he was than maybe you thought that he had. It's possible, but why are we relying on more projects when this is, quote, your big move for your bullpen at the trade deadline?
Well,
I'm
yeah,
not saying you trade 3 top 8 prospects to get Tanner Scott, but you got to do something.
maybe you do. I don't know.
I mean, it's looking more and more like it, but I understand. Again, I always say, would I do it versus do I understand why the Yankees? I understand why you don't do it.
So here's the point I was trying to make about Tonkin and why I'm going to be upset when he goes. So, because he's going, I'll almost guarantee it.
I mean,
I can almost guarantee it. I'm telling you right now, this is what the Yankees are doing. So, so here's why I'm going to be a little upset. Let's just fast forward to October.
Well, they do have an open spot on this roster right now.
Yeah,
because they DFA'd De Los Santos to bring up Warren, and Warren got sent down, so there is an open spot right here.
Yeah, Tonkin's going. It's coming soon.
Well, I don't know. Maybe Trevino can get that open spot right now, and Tonkin survives a little longer.
Yeah, we'll see. Here's my point, though. Let's fast forward to October real quick. You get a decent start out of your pitcher, starting pitcher. I'm not excited about it, but I think we have guys in this bullpen that like have been pretty good, right?
Tommy
Kahnle, yeah,
has been pretty good throughout the course of his career.
He has been pretty good, but here's my problem with Kahnle now. And
he thinks his changeup is Mariano's cutter.
Yeah, well, that's a big problem. He's also a little bit of a head case.
Tommy Red Bull,
right? Weaver, I think, out of all of them, has the best head on his shoulders. I think that he doesn't let the moment get to him. He obviously had that one bad game, that one bad outing where he got fucking obliterated. And then you have the head case of Clay Holmes, who's just a fucking mess, right? What I was saying about Tonkin, I was trying to translate into him kind of being a guy who I want in this bullpen in October. I don't think any moment gets too big for him.
I don't. I agree with that. I don't think Tonki's going to be overwhelmed by pitching in October.
And I'm not saying like he's a guy you want to go to in the 8th inning in a 2-1 game.
Maybe you do.
Or maybe you do, but
maybe you want those big Tonkin balls on the mound.
Maybe you do, but the point is he has the big Tonkin balls, and I think in October a guy like that can be very valuable to this bullpen.
And I think there is something to be said about a guy like Michael Tonkin, and after being DFA'd 3 times and finally finding success, is that there's no fear of failure with him.
We talk about the 2017 Yankees and playing with house money. They were in a rebuild, if whatever you want to call it. They had no business getting to Game 7 of the ALCS. They're playing with house money. Tonkin has been playing with house money all year. Every time he takes the ball, he goes, honestly, I don't really give a fuck at this point. And that's what I'm talking about. I like that about him. I think it brings a different dynamic to this bullpen, having a guy like that. And he's also been effective. So I am going to be upset if and when the Yankees get rid of him.
So that's the other moving parts there. That there's going to be some big. These were 2022 trade deadline acquisitions. Notice how you basically forgot that they were even alive.
Yeah.
And Efros and Trevino, although the Yankees non-tendered him, Trevino, because he had didn't he have Tommy John, or he had major shoulder surgery, one of the two. And they brought him back on a incentive laden deal here, and he's finally getting ready to come back. So that's that right there. Just real quickly, I don't, like we said, we talked about so much other stuff. We don't have to get into the Chicago series too much. Juan Soto won the game, 3 home run performance on Tuesday. Great. Team didn't really do much outside of that. The bullpen wanted to piss the game away. Whatever. Nestor was fantastic. 7 scoreless. Or
he was.
Or did he give up the run?
No.
The bullpen gave it. 7 scoreless. Again, you don't want to. People were saying, "Oh, it's the White Sox." We still got this shit rocked by the White Sox on the day before, so you can't say that.
Yeah, Luis Gil is a much more dominant pitcher. all year. He's had much better stuff than Nestor, and he got rocked. So, say what you want. I've been one of the tougher Nestor critics all year. You have his entire career. No way around it. He was brilliant. He was, in my opinion, his best start as a Yankee.
I don't know. I would have to go back and look. I don't know if I would go that far.
I think so, given the context of how badly this team
Yeah,
needed.
you couldn't lose that game, obviously.
They could not lose that game. So, in my opinion, he gets that
So
title for
obviously
that game.
Soto and Nestor carried them to victory on Tuesday. Wednesday, they were struggling until they just blew the doors off Chicago late, and that's what you were waiting for basically 2.5 games for the Yankees to overwhelm a very bad baseball team, and they did that finally. So we ended up getting a bit of a laugher on Wednesday with the history with Judge with 3 home runs, and then Soto hit another home run, 4 consecutive home runs and 4 at-bats. And for people that don't know, yes, it is 4 consecutive because I saw people arguing when walks
'Cause he
don't count
walked.
as at bats. Okay, they're not considered at bats.
Duh.
But then you go to Monday, and the Yankees really should have put 20 runs up on the board on Monday. They really should have. And I made a video about this. I don't know who's seen it, but it's on TikTok. It's on our social medias. The Yankees second and third. Nobody out. Judge already drives a run home, and you're sitting there saying to yourself, all right, here's our blowout game. We're the Yankees. These are the White Sox. We're going to have a laugher here. And Stanton pops up. And right at that exact moment, the noose tightened around the Yankees' necks.
Mm-hmm.
Because at that exact moment, and this is what frustrated me about this team so much, is that now they started getting in their own heads. They started pressing. Chris, they walked 11 times in that game and scored 2 runs.
And they had how many hits?
I think they had 20 base runners in the game. But what Yankee team gets 11 walks and doesn't score doesn't at least score 5 or 6 runs?
It's unheard of for any team.
They got their doors blown.
Team.
It's not even like then the White Sox scrapped out a couple of runs. This is a team that barely averages more than 3 runs a game. They scored 12 runs against most a lot.
Hits.
A lot.
12 runs on 18 hits.
A lot of that damage was done against one of your best, a guy that's probably consistently been your best pitcher all season in Luis Gil.
Yankees had 9 hits, 11
Yeah,
walks,
they had 20
and 2 errors from the White Sox.
So they had 22
they
base
scored 2
runners.
runs.
That was a team that was pressing. And why? So yeah, you got embarrassed by a historically bad baseball team, but there was a lot of pressure on the Yankees to win that game. They knew who they were facing. They knew what was expected out of them. And they pressed. And that's one thing that we've seen consistently out of Aaron Boone baseball teams, especially in October. So that's exactly why I didn't like. And it's not one game. It's not one game when this team has lost 90 games and you need and you're the Yankees and you're supposed to be one of the best teams in baseball and you look like you don't even belong on the same field as them. They did to you what you were supposed to do to them. You know, they started 9 guys in that game, all with OPSs under 700, and they scored 12 runs against the Yankees pitching.
Crazy.
And Kai Bush wanted he wanted to go to the shower so bad. He was begging for a 3rd round knockout. Begging. Yep. And the Yankees are like, "Nah, kid. We'll make you feel like you belong here."
Yep. It was look, you want to talk you always fucking you always say I have recency bias. You want to talk about real recency bias? The Yankees exploding yesterday and winning the game 10-2 has really calmed me down because up until they finally pulled out of it, I was feeling terrible. I mean, we came on here last week and said there's no reason why they don't go into Detroit 73 and what was it, 73 and 49 it would have been.
Yeah,
because
they're 72 and 50 right now.
And then they come out, they get embarrassed on Monday. So that was bad enough. And then Tuesday, yeah, they win, but it's like you're still
They
letting
tried
the
not to.
you're still letting the White Sox look like they belong on the same field as you. And not only did we say you had to sweep, but you got to take care of business. And then on yesterday, if you go to like ESPN app, they have like the win probabilities. It'll be like the line that moves. For
Yeah.
half the game, it's more probable that the White Sox win. And you're
Well,
sitting there going, if this is what I'm getting, this is the worst series. I don't care if they win it or not. And then they explode, and then you're feeling a little bit better. You get the 300th home run out of Judge. Soto just continues to fucking amaze you. And, you know, things feel a little better in Yankee land right now. But when you're really looking at it and dissecting it, this was a really bad series for the Yankees.
if you go, because it only gives, no, where'd it go now?
Shouldn't say bad. I should say concerning.
So if you go, because this is if you go back to the top of the 7, the Yankees were down 2-1. Their win probability was at 33.8%. That was after DJ LeMahieu struck out.
This is
with
yesterday.
Yeah, with a runner on second. And then later in that inning, when Austin Wells rips the single to put the Yankees ahead, it jumped to 80.7%.
Right.
Just for people that are interested in those types of things.
But my point is that line chart you're looking at there, it also depicts how you're feeling as a fan. And you should expect those line charts to be when the Yankees, who are supposed to be this big powerhouse, are playing the White Sox. That line chart should always be in the Yankees' favor all series long. I don't care how irrational you think that sounds. That's how bad this White Sox team is.
No, it was concerning that they got blown out on Monday, needed a miracle, really a miracle to get out of that ninth inning on Tuesday. And then it took them
all game
7 to the top of the 7th to finally like put their foot down and say, we're done here.
Right. It was concerning. But again, recency bias, you're still feeling better because they did turn it on. You have another series that you really need to take care of business coming up.
Yeah, the Tigers are 59-63. They're not terrible, but they're not good either. This is a series where the Yankees should easily take 2 out of 3. As we look ahead here, because tomorrow night Garrett Cole's on the mound, 6:40 start against TBD. Like I mentioned earlier, I think they're going opener with a lefty going in the bulk there. And then Saturday is a 1:10 start. It's going to be Carlos Rodon, who's been great lately, against Keiter, if I'm saying that, Keiter Montero, who has not been great, pitching to a 5.76 ERA. And then these are Cole and Rodon. Those are the games the Yankees have to win, because this is going to might be a little bit of trouble for the Yankees, even though I think if I can go back here, when did the Yankees play the Tigers? The Yankees play the Tigers in May.
I have their last 3 games.
The Yankees played the Tigers.
They won all 3. They played on 5-3, 5-4, and 5-5.
Yeah, but when did they face Skubal? They faced.
They probably faced them in game 1 on 5-3 because it was a 2-1 game.
No, they got Skubal was great against them on that Sunday. It was a rain-shortened 8-inning win for the Yankees. He gave up 6 hits, 2 earned, struck out 12 over 6 innings.
Yeah.
So it's not. So that's why that's why the Cole and Rodon starts are going to be important for the Yankees to take this way. At least they got the series in their back pocket, because it's Sunday Night Baseball. It's a Little League Classic, so the Yankees and Tigers are going to be playing in Williamsport. And then it's going to be Stroman against Skubal. So it's going to be that'll be a tough game for the Yankees, and we still need to see what if these improvements that Marcus Stroman has made have really taken effect here. So the Yankees are going to be in Detroit here to close out this road trip, expecting another series win. They really need it. Can't afford to be dropping any of these games as we look at the standings here.
It looks like the Orioles are about to win, and
so they'll go back to
back
even.
to a dead heat.
Yeah, the Orioles are up 5-1 in the top of the 9th against the Red Sox here. So do we root for a Boston miracle here?
At this point, you might as well just let it play out.
Okay, so the jokes write themselves. As I I'm sure everybody knows this now. So the Mets invited Hawk Tua to throw out the first pitch today, and then they blew a 5-run lead.
Yeah, they did. They hawked to it all over themselves.
So they I know we don't want to get it, but they introduced her as quote the viral sensation.
Yeah, it's great.
And do you know that it was camp day at Citi Field today as well?
That is phenomenal. It's just really, the people in the room must be proud. Really, just a phenomenal decision. Really good. Really good.
And what
it's
would
a
be
good thing most people don't really give a fuck who's throwing out the first pitch unless you're a Yankee fan.
We had Caitlin Clark. They had Hawk Tua.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Oh, geez. All right. So we would hope that as you're listening here on your favorite podcast platform, that you're leaving us a 5-star rating and review. Make sure you're subscribed on that podcast platform. Please tell everybody we are the official Yankee podcast of Odyssey. And if you joined us here tonight on NYY Underground on this premiere, please like the video, subscribe to NYYU. We thank you very much for your continued support of NYYST and NYY Underground. We thank you very much for listening to episode 414. Chris, say goodbye.
Can't make a promise, but I do my best. 25 sitting on 25 racks. Just got started, no, we ain't done yet. Bought a new crib, that's a goddamn flex. Sign that check. Told them last year that I been up next. Can't take calls, but I send that text. From way downtown, but the shit's still wet.